Great. Thank you for this opportunity, Pragya ma'am, and also sir. We are NeoMotion. We have a product NeoFly, NeoBolt, and the project that I would be talking about is the NeoFleet, where we are able to provide livelihood through mobility. So my name is Siddharth. I am a mechanical engineer by education. I did my engineering from IIT Madras along with my co-founders, and we basically design and manufacture mobility assistive devices for the physically challenged and the elderly. I would first want to talk about these three stories that you can see on your screen. On the top left, we have Sweetie Bagga. She is 60 years old. She has been on a wheelchair for the last 30 years. She is a paraplegic, unfortunately. We met her 5 years back and she had complained of a lot of back pain, shoulder pain with the wheelchair that she was using. And later, when she got a customized NeoFly wheelchair for her, she was able to get rid of all these pains, and now you can see her participating in a javelin throw event in Hyderabad itself. uh, Tamal Kanta in the middle, he is from Puri, Odisha. Tamal Kanta 1 month back in January completed a 213-kilometer ultra marathon on the Neofly wheelchair. This was basically to attempt and break the Guinness record of 182 kilometers. So unofficially he has broken it, but we are submitting documentation to get the official record. But this was one achievement, and we are very proud that he was able to do this on the NeoFly. And on the right hand side, we have Justin. Justin is a quadriplegic from Hyderabad as well. He, in fact, used the NeoFly and NeoBolt in the US. And despite using a wheelchair, he was able to move around on the NeoBolt, be a complete tourist in the country. And he came back and said that this is the Harley Davidson of wheelchairs. So these are the kind of stories that we are trying to create here at NeoMotion. So this started in 2015, where we basically moved around the country. We met approximately 250 odd wheelchair users, and we identified two problems that we would want to solve immediately. First is on the left, we have the indoor mobility problem. So 95% of the wheelchairs that are used are of this category. These are 18, 20-inch, basically one size fits all wheelchairs, but a child, a middle age, or an elderly with varied locomotor disabilities are forced to use. Now, to give an analogy, say if your shoe size is 9 and I give you a 13 size shoe, while your feet will be able to get into the shoe, but you will find it difficult to walk or run with that. And hence, it is not basically giving you the mobility that you require. It also leads to a lot of health damaging side effects like back pain, shoulder pain, neck pain. And basically, as a result, it brings down the confidence of the user, restricting mobility. And on the right hand side is the outdoor mobility product that you would normally see on the streets. These are bikes with two assistive wheels on the side. Now, when we talk about amputation, people are paraplegic, polio as well. Many of them have to either crawl on the floor to get onto this bike, or they need assistance of their family members to get onto this bike. As a result, they do not get the complete independence that they are looking for. Moreover, the height from the ground becomes a safety factor, and definitely since it's a petrol operated bike, it does have a very large recurring cost attached to it. So to solve these two problems, we have our solution. This is a short video of explaining that.
मेरा 2011 में दोस्त के कंधे पर से गिरने के कारण मेरा शरीर पैरालिसिस हो गया था। इस व्हीलचेयर प्रयोग करने के बाद आसानी से हम कहीं भी जा सकते हैं, आ सकते हैं। एक गाड़ी आती है जो कि इस व्हीलचेयर में आसानी से हम सेट कर सकते हैं, और गाड़ी सेट करने के बाद हम आसानी से बाहर जा सकते हैं, कम स्पेस में जा सकते हैं और कहीं भी पार्किंग कर सकते हैं, और समय का बचत हो सकता है, क्योंकि अगर हम ओनली व्हीलचेयर यूज करते हैं तो हमारी समय ज़्यादा लग सकता है। बट वो गाड़ी जब सेट करने के बाद आसानी से हम जा सकते हैं एक स्थान से दूसरे स्थान, और जो कि उसमें पूरा स्ट्रॉन्ग है, मजबूत है। गाँव में चला सकते हैं, अगर गड्ढे ऊंचे नीचे हैं तो आसानी से चला सकते हैं। अभी हमको कोई डर नहीं है, हम कहीं भी जा सकते हैं।
Yes. So like what Sailesh, so his name is Sailesh from Gaya, Bihar. And what he said at the end, अभी हमको कोई डर नहीं, हम कहीं भी जा सकते हैं. And some of the subtle things that he said, कि समय का बचत हो रहा है, his time is being saved, a caregiver's time is being saved. It allows him to take it into all terrain, in basically on roads, on speed breakers. So this is the solution that we have. First is on the left, the NeoFly. NeoFly is basically a fully customized wheelchair. It has 18 customizations that are catered to the body measurements and to the diagnosis of the individual. Basically, it results in the right posture, resulting in no back pain, shoulder pain with prolonged use of the wheelchair. Because it is designed according to the body, it leads to efficient propulsion. You've seen that Kamal was able to complete 213 kilometers on this wheelchair. And we've had other stories as well where people are able to be very agile on the NeoFly wheelchair. Since it's sleek and stylish, it basically improves the self-confidence of the individual. As a result, they don't feel handicapped per se when they're using such a wheelchair. And then on the right-hand side is the Neo Bolt, which is basically a motorized attachment for the NeoFly. It converts the NeoFly into a motorized three-wheeler scooter, which can be taken on roads. It basically does not require any assistance to attach this to go outdoors. It is tailor-made for Indian terrain, so you can take it on speed breakers, on potholes. It runs on a lithium-ion battery, which allows it to cover 25 kilometers per charge, and basically becomes a low-cost outdoor mobility solution. Because right now, if I need to go 5-6 kilometers, say in Mumbai or Chennai or Bangalore, I need to use a taxi or an auto or a car, which might cost me anywhere from 30 to 40 rupees for a 5-6 kilometer journey. Whereas on the Neo Bolt, for 1 rupee of electricity, I can cover 3 to 4 kilometers with this. The NeoFly Neo Bolt completely as a set, we price it at 95,000, including the taxes and delivery. Um, huh. So we have delivered to 31 states in India from Chennai. We have a user base of around 750 users. We have been able to do this primarily to two other important value adds. One is the NeoFit. NeoFit is a remote user assessment tool that we have created. This allows our therapy team, our clinical team, to do a WhatsApp video call with a person anywhere in India, take their measurements, do their clinical assessment, which then translates to assembly language, and then the assembly and packaging is done and door delivered to all our users across the country. Also, we have a system called the Neo Care, which is a post-sale service and support system. Because it is a mechanical product, it does require post-sale service, bearing changes, tube changes. What we have done is we send a toolkit with all our products. We have a bank of 70, 80 videos which are language independent, which can be referred to for any modifications, any adjustments. And at the end of the day, some of our parts are off the shelf, so it can be bought readily from the shelf itself from nearby stores, or it can be sent from our warehouse from Chennai all over India. So this is how we are able to take care of pre-deliveries and post-delivery support as well. So some of our user stories. How do I? Extremely sorry. Yeah, some of our stories that we've been able to, the 750 odd stories that we have created, we have our users in the army, in the air force. In fact, Yogesh Yadav was apparently the first person with disabilities who was promoted to a flying officer. Suresh Sangli sir, he's also an ex-serviceman who unfortunately got injured during service. We have farmers who are using the NeoFly and the NeoBolt, allowing them to easily move around their farms. We have people who are selling lottery tickets as a source of livelihood on the NeoFly NeoBolt. We also have para athletes who are using the NeoFly, even participating in the Paralympic Games. We have Prachi Yadav who had taken our NeoFly for the games in Tokyo as well. In fact, one of our users has also taken this on the metro, which allows him to basically just move around anywhere in Chennai, Delhi, or any other city that has metro service available. Now, some comparison parameters. So basically, two main buckets of competitive products. One is which provides the functionality, but with respect to pricing are not in the reach of average individuals. And the other substitute products, which basically are cheaper, but do not provide the functionality that is required in terms of independence, in terms of usage in uneven terrains. So in the middle, you would see products from the USA, from Spain, which provide the exact functionalities, but however, they are more costly. They're at least 2 to 3 times more expensive, or are catered to those geographies and not catered to developing countries, the terrains that we are looking at in India. And the other substitute products, like I mentioned before, they require assistance. They do not provide the functionalities that we are looking at in the NeoFly and the NeoBolt. So this is our team. We are a 27-member team across design, engineering, supply chain, fabrication, post-sale service. So we are all based in Chennai. That's me on the right-hand side with the team. Our founding team is primarily from IIT Madras. Dr. Sujata Srinivasan, she was my professor during my undergraduate studies. She heads the R2D2 lab at IIT Madras, which basically stands for Rehabilitation Research and Device Development. Swastik, he's the co-founder and CEO, also mechanical engineering from IIT Madras. He's specialized in product design. He's in fact worked on the standing wheelchair, on a swimming pool hoist and other products before we started NeoMotion. Myself, I take care of sales and customer success outreach at NeoMotion. Ashish is in charge of manufacturing and supply chain, also from IIT Madras. So some of the recognition that we've got the chance to show it to the Honorable Prime Minister. Mr. Anand Mahindra had tweeted about us and he invited us to his office to see how he can provide us support. We are taking mentorship from various verticals from the Mahindra Group in design and engineering and also product testing facilities. We got a chance to show it to the global president of Bosch, and he said, because we actually buy our drivetrain units from Bosch, we were able to show it to him. He said that this is something that they would want to take to the world from India. Mr. Murugappan sir from the Murugappa Group. Some of the awards that we have won: NASSCOM Innovate for Accessible India from Startup Tamil Nadu, Tata Trust, we won the Design Impact Awards. From ICRC, that was the first award that we had won. We got some funds through that to set shop, and also from CII for the Social Entrepreneurship Award. Now, coming to the CSR side, first, I just want to show some background. We have done CSR projects in this financial year and in the past. We have impacted around 300 plus stories in this financial year. These are mainly catering to indoor and outdoor mobility, where the CSR bodies were able to fund these products for beneficiaries who were carefully identified. We have also right now working with the Tamil Nadu government. We have in fact won a tender from them to supply our NeoFly NeoBolt as an electric wheelchair to suited beneficiaries. So these are the two validations that we've got, and with respect to implementation of the product itself. Now moving towards livelihood, what potential do we have with respect to NeoBolt being a tool for livelihood? One very important industry that we want to clearly focus on with respect to scale, with respect to ease of starting, is the e-commerce industry. I'm sure a lot of you have ordered items from Flipkart, Amazon. You've ordered your lunch or dinner from Zomato and Swiggy. How many times have you actually got your couriers delivered by a wheelchair user? I mean, I would say the answer would be close to zero itself. There are, in fact, very limited handful of wheelchair users who are actually doing such e-commerce deliveries, but not on a full-scale manner. In fact, Zomato, we would say there are 4 lakh delivery agents right now onboarded under Zomato itself, but none of them are wheelchair users, and they earn an average pay of around 18,000 rupees and beyond, depending on the time that they can provide. So there is a scope for scale in case if we are able to find the right model, and that is what we are doing through NeoFleet. Yeah, NeoFleet is basically a concept, a project that we want to implement, which will allow livelihood through mobility, specifically focusing on the e-commerce industry, where we want to provide mobility and upskill people one batch at a time so that they can take up as a livelihood opportunity. So how this would happen is we would identify beneficiaries who are locomotor disabled, primarily spinal cord injury, amputee, polio, onboard them into a NeoFleet batch. We upskill them for e-commerce deliveries and basically graduate these beneficiaries one batch at a time so that they can now take this as a livelihood opportunity. We have done some pilots. We have done 30 deliveries as our pilot for this. In fact, that's me wearing the Zomato t-shirt. I have done a pilot where I did 30 deliveries without any accessibility issues. And in March 2022, we would be doing this with actual wheelchair users. We have identified a couple of beneficiaries who will be coming down for wheelchair trials. Now, just to explain the project in slightly more detail, NeoFleet would be a batch where we enroll 10 beneficiaries at a time. There would be a batch running cost of 20 lakhs per batch. This is basically to provide the mobility assisted device, the NeoFly, NeoBolt, provide them additional batteries, and other IT requirements, even accommodation, hostel facilities. And this will be a course duration for 1 month, where 10 beneficiaries onboarded with a cost of 20 lakhs and a course duration of 1 month. And the result of that would be independent mobility for these 10 beneficiaries. They would be able to earn approximately 13,000 rupees per month, depending on the number of deliveries that they can do. And basically, we will be able to upskill them in the e-commerce industry itself so that they can do it in multiple platforms, either food deliveries or Zomato, Swiggy, like that. So our vision in this particular financial year or the next financial year combined for at least the next 2 years would have 100 batches of the NeoFleet across 10 cities, so that we are able to upskill and make 1,000 lives mobile, so that they can take this up as a livelihood opportunity. In terms of timeline, how this project can be executed, you can just focus on the right-hand side. There would be a one-time dedicated time for 3 weeks to identify a building and a hostel facility where these beneficiaries can be accommodated. A project staff would be recruited to run this project with respect to tracking the deliveries, tracking the beneficiaries as well. And then every batch would run for a 7-week duration. And in case, if you see in the bottom, there is a second batch that I have mentioned. In case a CSR or any funding body wants to do multiple batches, basically we just need to align them with the timeline of the first batch itself. And in terms of budget, like I said, approximately 20 lakhs, it basically comes to around 18.7. But if I, just for the sake of simplicity, if a 20 lakh budget for 10 beneficiaries with total earnings of 1.3 lakhs, that basically is 13,000 for each beneficiary. That is the kind of impact that we can generate with this budget. There is approximately an 80% capital expenditure and approximately 20% will be the operational expenditure in terms of accommodation, project staff, and beneficiary. One other thing that I just want to mention at the end, that in terms of the implementation of the project, in terms of beneficiary identification, NeoMotion itself has a bank of around 200 beneficiaries who have contacted us, who require the NeoFly, NeoBolt. We have done projects with Roundtable India in the past. We are in fact doing it right now as well. We have done projects involving 200 plus beneficiaries with a project fund of 2 crores. And in Roundtable itself has 140 tables across India with 3,000 members, which will allow us to implement this project in multiple cities. And they are also the background who will be able to execute this project in a sufficient way based on their background, based on the backgrounds of the tablers itself. So that's it from my side with respect to the product, with respect to our startup, and with respect to NeoFleet, how it can be a project model to employ people with disabilities in the e-commerce industry. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Siddharth. That was fantastic. I think congratulations to your team. The product is something which I think is a winner. And of course, this is an innovative idea of NeoFleet, which I hope succeeds. So I'll first allow our advisors to speak. And by the way, others who have questions can use the reactions button to select and raise their hands. In the meantime, maybe we'll go with our advisors first. Shall I request Dr. Shankar to go first? Dr. Shankar, you're on mute. Try now.
Yeah. Now I'm at unmute.
Yeah.
I think Siddharth, I think that's an absolutely fantastic product, and it's a. I think it's a winner all the way, and we can actually see this taking the world by storm, not only India. I think heartiest congratulations. I hardly have any question except a small one, which is purely out of curiosity rather than anything else. The tires which you use, are they solid tires or are they pneumatic tires? The one where the person is sitting on the wheelchair itself.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the question. So these are pneumatic tires. These are not solid tires that you would traditionally see on a wheelchair. The main reason for that is, and also while it is a pneumatic tire, it is also a, like those MTB tires that you would normally use in a cycle, a mountain bike. So the two reasons why we do that is, first of all, durability. The wheels need to be durable enough so that they are used on all-terrain areas, so you can use it on roads. The other reason for using pneumatic tires, and the main reason, is for suspension. because we will be using this on the road, and NeoBolt, the front attachment has a suspension very similar to a bike. On the wheelchair side, the suspension comes from the tire and the cushion. So we need to use pneumatic tires so that it absorbs some of the vibrations and impulses that are faced on the roads, and hence we use pneumatic tires. However, these are very similar to the ones in cycles. So in case you do have a puncture also, they can be easily removed. The wheel itself can just be removed, taken to a cycle shop, and the puncture can be repaired by the cycle person very easily. This is not very different from a standard average cycle tire.
I once more, I can't congratulate the team enough. Fantastic work.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Dr. Pachinathika, do you want to go next?
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. My first thoughts are, this is a all-terrain electrical vehicle, and whether normal people would be tempted to use it. That was my first thought. Anyway, jokes apart, it's a fantastic product, no doubt. I have only one or two very small minor questions. One is that when we move from outside to inside, is it very easy to move in? And secondly, like we are a little bit of conscious about our culture. When we move indoors, we remove our chappals. So whether when this particular vehicle is taken inside the house, do you have any special mats or something to store for it? That's one very minor question. And secondly, if any RTO approvals are required by any local bodies, whether it is an electrical vehicle, so it is exempt and such things.
Great, sir. So the first question, yes, I mean, there are no. It's a add-on that we can definitely think of in the future. Some things what our users have done is they have bought additional wheel sets. So the wheel that is used in this is a quick release wheel. So you just need to press a button and the wheel can actually come out. So
Okay.
what they have done is they have taken one additional wheel set. People who are conscious about this,
Yes.
and of course, if they are able to afford it also, they buy an additional wheel set so that they can take this. Or some users, in fact, I have heard from my existing users that they keep a wet cloth or something ready outside. So once before they go inside, they just take that cloth and wipe the wheels before they go inside. So some of these, in fact, one I just want to add on this. Some people have asked that how do I lock the NeoBolt? So before going inside the office, now my NeoBolt is outside. What if somebody takes it away? So some of the users have taken a chain and a lock, just how you would lock a cycle to a pole. So these are some of the ways how they've been able to solve this. Maybe in the future, we can think of some other solutions for this problem.
Yes.
And the second thing, yes, with respect to RTO, so the top speed of the NeoFly and the NeoBolt is 25 kilometers per hour. And the battery is less than 2 kilowatt in terms of power. So because of these two things, it doesn't come under any categories of the Motor Vehicles Act, and hence
Okay.
it does not require a license or a registration. While I have said that, and I see most people are from Pune. So we are in fact currently talking with ARAI. In fact, ARAI themselves had approached us when they saw some of our videos, and they want to create a category for this because they see that a potential that this can scale up. So
Yes.
we have had a couple of meetings where we are designing some of the test features and things like that. While we have tested this under ISO 7176, which is the testing which under which wheelchairs are tested, we also want this to be under a certain suitable category so that safety, other things are taken care of. So to directly answer your question, currently doesn't require any RTO approvals, but we are under talk so that a separate category can be made.
Okay. Yes, sure. Thank you.
Niranjan, Dr. Kambeti, you have a question?
Yes. Thank you. Fantastic product, no doubt. Everybody has said that. But I had a similar question about RTO, but I think I realized the speed is not so much, so it will not be a concern. In spite of that, I think whether you would suggest to wear a helmet when you go out on the road is my one question. And second question is,
Niranjan, you have become gone on
I
mute.
can't.
1 minute, sorry. Niranjan, can you unmute?
yes, yeah. So my second question is, what might be the failure modes? Because if the electric part of it just simply breaks down in the middle of the road, how would that be managed? Have you thought of that?
Great. Thank you, sir. So answering the first question, yes, we do with all our deliveries, we in fact send a message to all our users. In fact, even in the training videos that we have made, so we have made videos on how you can attach and detach this. So in all of these videos, the first statement is always to put a helmet. We in fact show wearing a helmet. And also, I mean, we recently even thinking of, so while we thought that, we should ourselves just send a helmet, but sometimes helmet becomes a personal choice as well. So we started for our first 10 deliveries and then we stopped because many people said that I have bought my own helmet, so it was just an additional cost. So we tell our users to purchase a helmet. All our videos have this disclaimer also. And I think, yeah, that answers that question. The second one was about the failure modes. In fact, with our own users, we have faced one issue where they forgot to see how much battery is there. So if you can see, there is a small screen on the handle. So that screen, in fact, tells you the speed, how much battery is there, at what speed limit you are running the new bolt at that point of time. So when they forgot to see how much battery is there and they went out and then it stopped, uh, because it is a modular system, they can detach it. Now the next thing would be that they would drag the wheelchair, they would ride the wheelchair and go to their homes, and the Neo bolt itself can be either just moved, like you don't need to lift it. You can still lift it, put it in a like a Tata Ace or something and take it home. Or if it is not very far, or if you can do this, you can just drag it, you can roll it. It is standing on three wheels, so you can simply roll it and take it to your house as well. So that is how we've been able to solve this as of now, in case if there is any breakdowns on the way.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Though these kind of things would be rather a bit of a challenge for the individual who is riding this, because he's
Yeah.
already in the wheelchair, right? So
Correct.
maybe some assistance or some telephone call to a service center or something. Is that a way to get quick help?
We can definitely, maybe once we scale, we are looking at test drive centers. While we have test drive centers in 6 cities right now, we want to appoint some point of contact sale points where people can go physically see the product. So while those will be set up, one of the things that we are including in their scope of work is to provide any sort of post sale service, to provide any such assistance. So we can definitely include this as well in part of that, say breakdown support for any of our users.
Yeah. So Siddharth, there are a few questions, so I'll take those up.
Okay.
First, there's a question of whether you have considered tried to innovate in such a way that the driver's seat of a car can be replaced in the car with a Neo seat, as Vinay has mentioned out here. Have you considered integrating it into a car, the wheelchair?
Not yet. I mean, we have one. So we have made a list of 16 products. So NeoFly, NeoBolt is the first two. There are other 16 products in the pipeline in our next 5-year roadmap that we have created. We do have a Neo car included in that. While it is there, conceptually, we haven't yet put any thoughts into it. So maybe in the future, we can think about it. There are some places where you have, in fact, nowadays you get these wheelchair taxis that you can get. So only the driver's seat and the shotgun seat is there. The backside is completely empty, and then there is a ramp that comes out, so the wheelchair can go in. Maybe in the future that can be the Neo car.
Okay, great. Also, have you planned for Indian road conditions? Have you adjusted for road clearances, ground clearances, and so on and so forth? That's another question.
Absolutely. So we have done extensive testing, road testing, and considering. So we have taken it a variable aspect. So speed breakers, some places can be very high, some places can be short, some places it can be the width wise it will be less, width wise it will be more. So we have done all our testings for that, and in fact the design itself takes into consideration that whenever there is a speed breaker in the front wheel goes up, and the casters behind will go with that accordingly. And then the wheels behind are anyways of 24 inches, so they'd I mean, taking them over a speed breaker is fairly easy. So we have done all that in the design phase.
So when you did the trial yourself, that's you wearing that Zomato t-shirt there, right? So, so when you did that trial, were there issues where, say, people were living in inaccessible areas, floor above, and so on? So how did you manage that?
So we managed it. I don't know how many of you have actually done Zomato deliveries in the past. So in the app, you obviously have the option to call the customer. You would have at least received the call from your delivery agent. So I used to call the restaurant, or I would just wave at them in case it's like a cloud kitchen which is just at the street. So I would wave at them or give them a call. They would actually come out and give me the parcel. And on the right hand side, the picture that you see on the screen, it is of a customer. He in fact was on the second or third floor, if I remember correctly. I called them and I told them, I'm on a wheelchair. Can you please come down? Initially, it was a surprise to them that they did not understand what I said when I said I'm on a wheelchair. And I explained to them, I am on a wheelchair. I cannot come up. Can you please come down? And then they actually did. They came down and they were very pleasantly surprised to see. And in fact, they asked me more questions about, and I also apologized to them saying that I am not physically handicapped. And I am sorry that I had to call you down because as a Zomato employee, I am supposed to deliver it to them at the doorstep. So, but then they understood, and I said that I'm an engineer and we are trying to do a pilot over here. So,
Okay.
of the deliveries, we did not face any issues that way, or everybody obliged and they came and took the package.
Okay, great. Have you already spoken to Swiggy and Zomato for any partnerships? There's one more question out there in the box.
So actually, we want to do this the other way. While for 6 months back, I have tried my best to get in touch with Zomato, Swiggy on how we can do this as a partnership or as a combined project. But I mean, we are facing our issues getting their attention onto this. So what we decided, and in fact, one reason why I went ahead with Zomato for the pilot is because they have cycle as a delivery option. So when I go for a cycle option, I don't need to give a license and my delivery radius will also be minimized. So that's why we did the pilot with Zomato. We want to actually do this pilot and then take our data to Zomato that, we have done 100 deliveries. We had issues with X number of deliveries. The beneficiaries were able to earn this much. We want to take this as a pilot that is completed. I think then we would actually get a lot more response rather than just writing emails to them and getting a response.
Yeah, and also you have thought through how you would do the training for all of these people, their stay and during the period of training and so on.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's very, very important.
What we would want in the future is that NeoFleet will become a project that Zomato itself will absorb into their this thing, where they would have an accommodation ready for them. It will be an accessible accommodation. There'll be batteries for charging, swappable batteries, etc. So this will be a project that can readily be absorbed by Zomato, Swiggy, and all other e-commerce chains.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thanks for this wonderful work and also participating in this session. Okay,
Thank
we
you,
hope
sir.
we'll find you good partners to take this ahead as well. Okay,
Great.
thank you very much, Siddharth. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for your questions.
Thank you.